Welcome back. And for those of you that just joined us, my name is Cindy, and I'll be with you over the next 3 days. And I'll be your host as well as being one of your speakers. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the last one. How amazing was Amanda's talk? Like, so many aha moments in there. And I want to just encourage you as we go into the next speaker, put down in the comments where you're listening in from. Put down your questions. We love to actually interact with you, engage with you, and just to share this journey with you, because we only grow when we're doing things together, because we can't do this alone, right? So I'm going to have a question. Do you think if somebody's worked with 400 businesses, that they know a thing or two, that they're like, yeah, I know the pitfalls. I know what's going to be successful. I know how to help you grow and have income and impact. I'm just going to say, let's type a yes. Let's type a yes in the chat, because honestly, you want to surround yourself with somebody that has been there, done it, and seen so many businesses, has a blueprint, and know what will work and what won't work. So with that said, I want to bring up Christine, who is an amazing, amazing business owner. And yes, she has worked with over 400 businesses, and she has helped them grow over into, I think, like over $1 billion collectively. So she knows a thing or two when it comes to that. So with that being said, I am going to step aside and just let us just all together in the comments, let's welcome Christine.
That can help.
There we go. There we go. Christine, for joining us, and I'm gonna talk about your background image, because it's like that attracted me when we first came in, and it says business growth is elegantly simple. There's a story behind that. Like, what brought you to have that on your wall? And it's like, yeah, I need to have that there.
It's actually a gift from somebody who says, you say this so often, you should have this on your wall. And the story is, I never set out to be a business mentor. It wasn't like I got up one day and said, hey, I want to coach. I mean, I've led big teams and I've done all of that in corporate, but it didn't honestly occur to me to go create a business around it.
Yeah.
But what I was watching people get suckered into was unnecessary complexity. And I'm like, business is simpler than you think. 2 things predict your revenue and 3 things are non-negotiable. And if you figure that out, you can build any business on the planet. And so a friend of mine made that for me, and she also sent me business cards, which all of my clients, when they come on board, they get a handwritten card that has that exact picture that says, let me remind you, as we start the journey, business growth is and will always be elegantly simple.
I love that.
Complexity is not a friend of yours. It's not going to help you grow your business. And truthfully, you don't have to be innovating every nanosecond, because you're not, unless you're running a fashion label. Okay, like a caveat with that. But if you're not, every season doesn't become a new thing if you want to see success.
I know, it's because, a lot of women, they look at what's going on in social media and they're like, okay, this is the trend and this is the latest thing and I gotta go do this and I gotta do this hashtag and da. And their business is changing as often as they change their clothes.
100%. But the foundations never go out of style. And that's the thing. When I started my journey, my friend of mine, a mentor of mine, had said, nobody wants to play where you play. Like, nobody wants to work on the foundations, to do the unsexy things. And I said, this may be true, but having worked with 400 businesses to create the $1 billion in revenue, I'm like, the results are really sexy.
Yeah, exactly.
And what I mean by that is it's worth it for you. And so I don't, who am I to judge your dreams? I just say, I want to see you succeed at them. That's it. Like, I want to see far more of us not give up on our dreams, not get sidetracked by our dreams. And truthfully, if anybody tells you there's one way to do anything, walk away quickly. Because there's not one way. I always say it's the connecting dots that really matter. And a lot of people do struggle with the connecting dots, but that's what foundations are, connecting dots.
And I love, this is something I stress to my kids also. If your foundation is shocking, everything is going to fall. You're not gonna have longevity. You're not gonna see success if your foundation is really bad. And I love the fact,
and your hustle can get you quite far.
Yeah.
And that's why, people do beat themselves up, especially women. We beat ourselves up. We're like, I got so far, how come I can't replicate this? Or how come it stopped working to the point of this evolution? And I said, if you have the right foundations, you can navigate any changing landscape. From a market perspective, from a political perspective, from an economic point of view, it doesn't matter. The foundations never go out of style. And often people come into my space because they're like, I got really far, but now I realized I didn't build the foundation. And that's perplexing. It's like, I don't even know how to go back and do it. And if they built some success before, they're honestly going, I don't know what pieces of the pie created the success. So now I am throwing everything at it. And truthfully, now nothing's working. And my own ego and my own belief in myself is getting pretty dented. And I'm like, let's take it down a notch. Let's back up.
Yeah.
and look at the perspective of what do you want? And then how
True.
do we go get it?
What do you want and why do you get it? And yeah, as you say, it making it simple, simple scales, simple scales.
100%.
Simple scales, and it doesn't need to be complicated. And this is why, like, I love that you on, because especially a lot of my audience are women that have got kids and stuff like that. Go simple so that you can have the business, because we overcomplicate everything anyway. Why do we want to do this? Then we can never get what we want.
100%. When I first started my first business, I was running it 1 hour a day. It was not meant, to create this $10 million empire or anything like that. But I wanted an extra $10,000 to $20,000 of income. That was
Yeah.
the goal when I first started my first business. But I was building it 1 hour a day. And I was really disciplined. And I had a lot of education and a lot of business experience. So I knew what to do for that 1 hour.
Mm.
And that actually led to lots of cups of coffee and lots of glasses of wine as people came saying, like, can I pick your brain? Like, what's happening? And I'm
Mm.
like, the difference is you do the hokey pokey and I just stay in the game like the tortoise and the hare. And I
Oh.
know what to focus on. And they'd be like, tell me. And then they go, wow, it's really simple. I'm like, yep. And then they go, I can actually see you doing this. I'm like, even better. But inevitably, 3 months come by, they're like, you want to have another cup of coffee or you want to go for another glass of wine? And they'd be like, I can't apply this. And I
Mm.
said, we get, especially the mums, we get into this idea that, we can't do things. And we forget that it's not a matter of time. It is
Mm.
knowing what to focus on and having the discipline to do that. And
Mm.
truthfully, there is no glory in being solo in the journey. We are
Yeah.
stronger when we can learn from each other. Somebody is got the knowledge you lack. And
Mm.
truthfully, somebody will also breathe belief into you when you wobble. And my measure when I'm working with my clients is we all wobble, like welcome to
Mm.
the human experience. But are you in control of the wobble or is the wobble controlling you?
Really. Oh, I love it. And I love
Choose
this
this.
also, what, as you said, you touched on it. Like, you're gonna speak, like, if you guys are struggling, Christine is going to breathe her belief onto you, because she's done it, been there, seen it, had 400 things that she's like businesses that she's gone through. So she knows where you're going to wobble before you even know that you're gonna wobble.
Yeah.
And
And I'll say,
and I
welcome
love
to
it.
it. I
And
told you this was coming. Plot twist. Foreshadowing. I told you this chapter was ahead. We are in it. Congratulations. And the question I'll be asking you is it worth it till you still? Because here's the truth. And as a business mentor and just as somebody who cares about other people, my job is not to light your fire.
Mm.
And a lot of business coaches think that's their job. It's not. Your job is to light the fire. Your job is to tell us what it is that you are passionate about creating and the ripples you want to make. And my job is to be a fuel source,
Yeah.
not to light the fire, but to maintain it, to
Mm.
amplify it, to recognize you can control it.
And not let it go chaotic and everywhere and cause
That's
destruction.
right. Or willingly say, right about now, we might be looking like it could be burnt to the ground. Is that what you want? If not, let's take a conversation and evaluate the options, because you always have choice. And that's the thing that we often do lose sight of.
Mm.
When you have amazing community and when you have amazing people who've been there, like, don't get me wrong, I still have epic moments in my business where I'm like, well, that was unexpected. But I also have the same discipline in the inner circles that
Yeah.
breathe belief into me,
Mm.
go into rooms and they say, that's not a crazy idea. What took you so long to figure it out? And it's like, I don't understand this idea that we should find, it's a glory in the, let me figure it all out on our own.
Mm.
This is where I think sometimes, I'll be honest, the men have it a little smarter than we do.
Yeah.
The women really fight to like, I'll figure this out.
Mm.
I don't want anybody to know I'm weak. And men are just like, I know I have a gap. What's the fastest way to pay to get this fixed?
Exactly.
And we could learn something there.
We could, and they're just like, okay, and they're so eager to talk to, like, oh, I'm gonna talk to John, I'm gonna talk to this one, and we're gonna sort it out amongst us. And we're like, yeah, but I don't want anyone to judge me, and then they're gonna think I don't know anything, and there's that whole imposter syndrome that comes with it.
It's a remarkable problem. I heard a stat really early on in my journey that they said 95% of women who come into the world of business that come from some level of success. And that could be success in corporate, success as a mother, success as a sister, a family member, just some level of I did some good things in my life, steps into business and suddenly thinks we are incompetent. 95%. It's a shocking number. And then when we think that, we don't put ourselves in the learning mode.
Mm.
And what the truth is, nobody who creates success started day one at success, stayed at number one at success. This is a constant slide.
Yeah.
Are you in control of the slide? or is the slide whooping your butt? Because there is none of us come there. And I think sometimes we don't have those really frank conversations. And that's why, my biggest prop to my inner circle is it's okay to take your lumps and want to leave the field. My biggest question is, will you be back here tomorrow?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you do need to retreat. Sometimes you do need
Yeah.
to go, that's painful. But more importantly, I said, do I want to ask you, is the fire still lit? Because if the fire is still lit, you can add oxygen
Yeah.
anytime.
In it. I was like, yeah, I like calling it. I'm like, you got butt hurt. That's okay. Your butt got hurt. It's okay. Now what we're gonna do?
Yeah.
It's like, now what's the next step? Do we pack it in? And I love that. And I'm gonna ask you, what was it? With a lot of women that you see, what is the most common, one of the most common things that you see when it comes to that foundational piece that they're all like mostly missing?
They have this real aversion to the idea that they have to sell something. And I find this fascinating. I think women are the best sellers in the marketplace because we are relationship driven. But so many people go into the world of business not knowing this really simple truth. Your business will be built on strangers. So you need to make friends with strangers and you need to lead the offer. And those two things will predict your revenue in the next 90 days. So if you have a gap and you just hope that they'll just magically show up, sure, if you work with me and we built you the system that allows for that, but otherwise you've got this field of dreams business strategy happening. I'm like, wake up, it's a great movie plot. It's not a recommended business strategy. And the belief is I don't want to have to sell anything. And I said, you need to understand that your job is to help somebody else achieve a goal.
Yeah.
You're not selling anything other than the possibility that you believe in somebody else to make it true. And when you get your head around that, everyone's like, I want to do that. And I'm like, yeah, and I want you to do it a lot. I want you to be a big catalyst. I want you to do big ripples of change. But I'm sorry, you have to sell something. Because then people get into this idea that the issue is marketing. And I'm like, a lot of people hire me for marketing. A lot. I said, that's great. And I will help you with your marketing. But you don't have a marketing problem. You have a sales problem. And once we fix the sales problem, we can add gasoline, which is marketing.
Yeah.
But otherwise, before that, you have the cart before the horse. And a lot of people are like, I don't want to sell anything. And I'm like, I'm sorry, your whole basic fundamental of business is value exchange.
Yeah.
So without a value exchange, you don't have a business. And women really struggle to get around that because they think they don't want to be salesy and they don't want to be annoying. And I'm like, you are not the most important part of this equation. Get out of your own way.
Get out of your way. That it's true you say, because selling is the biggest stickler. A lot of women just don't want to sell and they don't want to have that enrollment conversation. I was like, how did you get your kids to eat their food? What do you think you were doing there?
Absolutely. And that's just the problem. I saw there was a great post many years ago on LinkedIn, and it was by a mom who had children and she was going back into the work world and she had applied for a role in sales and she got denied the job. And she then responded in a letter, and the letter talks about how she spent her day selling. And it was negotiating fish sticks, bedtimes, sleepovers, fights between siblings. And it was signed, Dear Mom of whatever, Mom of the Universe or something. And the response was, I would hire her in a heartbeat. You have the skills, you just don't like the label you're using. So find another label that you like. Because I love the sizzle of seeing somebody's dream saying, we can do this. It's so incredibly rewarding. And there's a lot of responsibility to sit shotgun in somebody's dreams and say, I believe in you. What's going on over there?
Yeah.
And at the same time, go from, I think I can, to, wow, I'm doing it, to, wow, look what I've accomplished, to look at the start we've created for other human beings.
Yeah.
Which that is what selling is. It's not a close. It's not an end of something. It's not we won, you lose. It's a beginning. And if you think of sales as partnership, women are great partners. Step in.
I love it. Like you're like step in. I'm like, yeah. What anybody else not stepped in that one? Because I'm like, yeah, you just put it in a different way, and I love that. And there's an analogy that I heard not that long ago, and the person said, take the first step. He's like, you use it this, like you're standing at the line. Everybody goes to this museum and you're standing in this long line to look at a painting, but you can't quite see the painting until you take the first step and the next step. And as you step, it just becomes clearer and clearer. And then next thing you've got this beautiful thing in front of you. And that's something like take that first step in your business so you can have this beautiful thing that you're going towards, but nothing's going to come until you take that first step. And selling is that first step because you've got to make that offer.
100%. And if you just get your head around, all I have to do
Mm,
is the elegantly simple thing, which is take one step at a time.
yeah.
And I always think the biggest difference of whether people succeed or not always comes down to movement. And I
Mm,
said, everyone wants the momentum.
yeah.
But when you got it, you're like, I don't know what created it, and I'm scared I'm going to lose it. And that's that whole mind bend that happens. But I said, never mind the momentum. It takes care of itself if you just stay in movement. And
Mm,
note that not all movement is going to be in the direction you anticipated. But as long as you stay in the movement, I said, you
mm,
control your speed. And some seasons for us are Mach 10 hair on fire, and
mm,
other seasons are not. And I said, my commitment when I started my business 1 hour a day was that I will just commit to staying in the game.
yeah.
And I committed 1 hour. And so sometimes that meant very rarely 60 minutes in a row. Sometimes it was 10 minutes in the lineup at Starbucks. Sometimes it was waiting for a meeting that got late. Sometimes it was at a hotel. But it was just the discipline of I will do something today,
Yeah.
non-negotiably. And everyone's like, why is your business rocketing? I'm like, because I'm not doing the hokey pokey like you are.
Mm,
I don't sprint for 2 weeks, give up when it doesn't happen, and then pout. I just say, well, this is just first attempt in learning. I just got to stay at the table. And here's the other thing I think is important. If you
yeah.
don't see the table you want to play at, it's because you need to go create it.
Ooh, well, that was just a golden nugget right there. Go and create
It's
it.
true though.
Ooh, I
That was
love
my
it.
biggest light bulb all through my life. And I'm like, okay, and that's when I got invited into the coaching space, because I didn't get up one day and said, I'm going to do this like so
Mm,
many did during the pandemic.
yeah.
I kept being asked, and people are like, and again, over these coffees and glasses of wine, it's like, what's the secret? And so there's no secret. I will tell you everything I know really freely. I'm not here to hide information.
Yeah.
Knowledge is not the problem. And if you have a knowledge gap, solve it. It's easy, solve it. The internet's available. You
Google
Google,
it.
Pinterest, YouTube, anywhere you want to learn from, you can.
Yeah.
But the big thing is that you have to figure out how the sequencing happens. And if
Mm,
you commit to it, anything is possible.
mm. It's true. You know, it's true. We don't have in this day and age, nobody can say they actually have a knowledge problem. There's not,
Right.
there's
It's a
information.
lazy excuse. And
Exactly.
I
It's a
will
lazy excuse and and you know, it's a cowardly excuse and you know, sorry woman, but it is because you can Google, you can go chat GBT, Google whatever.
anything.
You can Google
And they do. But I had a great quote of a girlfriend of mine who said,
yeah.
don't mistake the Google answer for my expertise.
Ooh.
I
Yeah.
thought, God, that's why I love you, woman. And she is a powerhouse and she's a real sizzler. And she's like, but she is such a truthful
Mm,
sales badass, truthfully, pardon the
yeah.
language. And it is coming down to that simplicity.
You know,
It always comes back to that.
I love it. I
You've
love it.
got to own it. And knowledge truly is the laziest excuse. And you're
Mm,
not going to love hearing that. And I'm saying it with great kindness. Knowledge, if that is your lodestone, put
yeah.
it down, it's heavy. And truthfully, then the issue is I know what to do. It's not working as effectively. So my answer is get somebody to be a blind spot checker, somebody who knows what you want to do, has been there. We'll share the high and the low of that journey, be really open about what it took to get there effort wise, because you get to choose the effort, you get to choose your speed, and you have
Mm,
to be there saying, I've lit the fire, please be a fuel source for me. And when you can do that, honestly, it hopefully is becoming a lot more fun. And truthfully,
yeah.
I want business to be a lot more fun. And it is fun when you're seeing winning in your business. And winning means progress. It
Yeah.
doesn't always mean the client sale,
Mm,
the hit out of the park. It's what did I make progress on today? That small
mm,
movement that
mm.
I showed up present for. Because
Yeah.
I always say, like, my dad used to say to me, at the end of the day, you're maker and you have to have a conversation. And did you show up as a good person? Did you have integrity today? And are you grateful for the choices you made?
Yeah.
And if you're not, you might be gifted another day. And if you
Yeah.
are, make better choices.
Great, great
And
choice.
so there's a real small tolerance for the BS in my crowd, in my group, because I said, you told me you wanted this. Like I
Yeah.
didn't come hunt you down. You came to me and said, I want to do this. And I said,
Hmm.
okay. My
I,
biggest gift is to be your foil, your advocate, but also the other side of the coin, which is somebody needs you. Get out of your own way. It's not about you.
what about
What
you?
if you not choosing to show up meant somebody today didn't get the resource, inspiration, or support they needed?
Mm,
I
exactly.
always give my away when I remind myself of that. It's like
Yeah. You're
it's
somebody
not
else's
about me,
answer.
what I was after.
And that was funny, the speaker just before you, we were having this conversation and she's like, you are somebody else's answered prayer. And I said to her, where does that stem from? She's like, because I was adopted. She's like, she goes, to my core, I believe that was a prayer and I'm somebody else's answer. So she goes, it's the same thing in your business. You are somebody else's answer. And I love that. And, it's so hard. And there's something that I get a lot of time my clients give me flack. They're like, you're tough. I'm like, yeah, it's tough love. I ripped the band-aid off because you don't have the luxury of going, and that is because if you want this life, then go out and go do it, because nobody else is going to give it to you. Nobody's going to hand your life on a silver platter to you. You've got to go out there and create it. You've been given a gift, now go and use it. Right. And I love the fact that you say, make it simple, because it doesn't need to be this whole complicated, elaborate, how many page funnel, whatever it is that you don't even know what you're doing.
And when you say, you were gifted it on a silver platter, you were gifted other people to guide you.
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt in my mind that the right people come into your life.
Yeah.
And sometimes the lesson is I just heard it. And sometimes it's like, I'm going to have to experience it. And I said, we always think that growth is going to be conveniently, when we want to do it in a red notebook at Starbucks at 2 o'clock. So we went for clarity at that time in our agendas. It doesn't happen that way. No. And there's a real sense of humor with my Lord above, because he's always like, you're not learning that lesson. We're gonna remind you in another really inconvenient way. And it's always in that space. And that's when you get to say, oh, do I really want it? Mm-hmm. And you think you have, it should be easier. I said, it was easier. You weren't paying attention.
Yeah. You weren't paying attention. My husband calls it those moments, the 2x4. He goes, did you hear this lesson, Cindy? Or are you going to get hit with a 2x4? I'm like, yeah, I got the lesson. I got it.
No. Sometimes I'm like, no, I think a 2x4 looks kind of cute this season. I might need one more go around. Guys, truthfully, and that's the thing, is like, we are human and we have this beautiful gift of choice, but we also have this amazing truth that the knowledge is out there. Mm. And so is your next client. Ooh. I always say to people, my people come to work with me to create a client growth engine, create a system that's not based on tech, not based on how much dollars you spend, but based on you're finding your right people. Most of my clients want to find 5 to 30 clients a year. Yeah. They want to serve eyeball to eyeball, heart to heart, and they want to help actually get the results. They have real great humanity, real great integrity. And I said, okay, there's a pathway to creating business success. Mm. You've tried your way. Yeah. It's not working so well. Well, 400 companies sort of would suggest we know what we're doing. The question is not is the fundamentals wrong? It's, will we apply them? And yeah. I am really open. I said, this is your business. How do you want to run it? Mm. I'm going to tell you that there's foundations. You could build your sequence, because truthfully, if it's not something, this is always the big test for me, like the litmus test. Mm-hmm. Does your business feel like oxygen for you? Yeah. Oh. Because it should. Like, this is a choice you made to serve in this way. Sometimes you got bumped in, encouraged, and called to do it, but you get to choose, and it should feel like oxygen. Mm-hmm. And if you're not energized by this choice you're making, mm-hmm. you're living somebody else's version of how it needs to be. Yeah. I might invite you to say that's not the only option out on the table. Mm. So sit with it. And I go, what happened? It's like, I heard this conversation. It's like, well, maybe there's a clue here. You've got 2 amazing people to come talk to about it. Mm. You make your own choices, but truthfully, I want you to just know there's possibility, because I get out of bed every day for possibility. Yeah. Every day.
I love it. Oh my gosh. As I say, so many golden nuggets and profound moments in there. But I want to just add this way. It's also just humbling yourself to going, I got it wrong. And that's okay. Being honest and having that honest conversation with yourself, going, I got it wrong, and don't beat yourself up about it, so that you can actually go and find somebody to give you the answer. Because we've all got Google folders sitting with this course, that course, that we thought would be the answer, and it wasn't, because we never had somebody guiding us, helping us, and saying, hey, this is what's actually going on. It's not another.
Well, and guided us with robust skills. Like, this is it. Like, we don't want to be mentored from one-hit wonders. Okay, yeah, that's a key hint here. You don't want to be mentored by somebody who literally learned this from YouTube 3 months ago. But the truth is, I always think I would shift that perspective a little bit, which is, I didn't get this wrong. Yeah. What I always find my own experience is I was disappointed in the result. Oh, yeah. Not that it was wrong, because I learned something from it, but it's still okay to have heart hurt and say, I swung for something and I'm disappointed. And I think what motivates me personally is always, I want to step into the potential I know is there. And I know I only see a fraction of what's possible because I'm human and I'm not God. But
Yeah.
if I can just step into that, it's like, it's okay to feel disappointment. And that's where I said, you've done an amazing thing and you've learned and you've grown and still gonna fallen short. And it's okay to go, my heart hurts. But that's when you need good people around you to say, I'm going to just give you a hug and say, I see you today. And I'm going to ask you this question. Will I see you tomorrow? I hope so. And that's it. Like there's no need to carry it. And I think it's always a good analogy of the rear view mirror in when you're driving a car. The windshield is the possibility you get up to every day.
Mhm.
It's infinitely wide. Don't let that rear view mirror, which is like 10% of the viewable living area,
Yeah.
be the only one you see.
Mm.
It's okay to hurt. It's okay to look back and go, I regret that. I feel disappointment around that. Hindsight's 2020. Yeah,
Mm.
don't worry, you're not going that way. Make a fresh start and take action today. Because the one thing I am really clear on, I'm a work in progress.
Oh, yeah. We all,
I'm
we all
very
definitely.
blessed. I had a good friend say to me that very young in my life. She's like, I will love you always, but you were always still a work in progress.
Like,
I
it's
think
all
it's kind of since I was 15. There's a lot of years under that bridge.
it's like, yeah. None of us are going to give our age away. We're just like, we're not doing this. Because I was speaking to Dr. James and she worked with Don King. And I'm like, that might just be giving our ages away because not a lot of people are going to know who Don King is. I'm like, I'll just hide away in the corner because I know who that is.
Well, it's okay. I will own every one of those years
I was like,
because truthfully, why you would hire me, because it's not that nanosecond, instantaneous,
yeah,
just flavor of the season, like a fine wine. It's aged.
it's aged,
And
well aged.
experience is also, and sometimes there's lessons like, God, there's so many lessons over my journey where it's like, if it won't matter to you in 5 days or 5 weeks or
Yeah.
5 years, do not let it rot you from the inside out. So you
Mm.
had something that fell short. So you didn't do as much as you had hoped. So that client that you really wanted to work with didn't say yes today. So many people come into my business, don't take the first offer. And it's not because they don't want to. They're more scared of themselves than they're scared of working with me. And I said, that's okay. I'm still going to be here in a year and I'm sure of that. Are you? That's not arrogance. That's just,
No. Yeah.
that's okay. I will be here to make you another offer, but I will tell you it will be a different one.
Mm.
That's okay. I'll meet you when you're here. And they show up and then they're like, I wish I'd done this a year ago. I said, well, that doesn't matter. What do you want to do now? And why is it non-negotiable for you? Tell me. How do I help you? And sometimes that's a resource.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's, a referral to somebody else. And sometimes it's, yeah, there might be a reason I can help you. And if you'd like me to make you an offer, to ask explicitly. And if they say yes, I said, okay, let's make one. But we're really clear it's an offer. And that's also something I think in the world of selling that we're talking about is you don't know what an offer is. You
Mm.
think a post on social media, buy my stuff is an offer. It's not. It's not. You also think an email out that says, I've got a program, buy it, is also an offer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a prelude. Conversation is what moves your business.
Yeah. And you can't just be one of those drop an offer and run. It's like, what
That's
was
right.
what,
And they
it was like,
do
I haven't seen you for how long, and now you're just gonna drop this and run? Like what? Like we don't
all the
do
time. And that's what they're like, but I don't want to actually talk to you about this. And I'm like, if you don't want to talk to them about the moment that's going to change their life, how are you going to show up for the result? Just
Exactly.
asking for a friend. I want to know because I see it all the time. And I'm like, interesting.
You're like, I'm just asking for a friend, just curious, how that gonna work for you? Like what's going on here? I love it.
Yeah.
With that, I'm
And then
gonna
they always
say
come back and thank Christine. And I'm like, just asking.
like, you're like me. I'm like, I'm not saying that you're doing this wrong. I'm just asking so that I know that like I don't do that. I'm just wondering. I love that. With that said, I know you've got something that you want to offer the audience. So I'm gonna let you explain what that is and why they should sign up because I mean like it is good.
I always think that sometimes the biggest challenge is, we talked about it, it's sales. You don't know how to find an audience of buyers. And here's my one little rant about marketing. I think the marketing industry has snowballed you because you think an avatar and finding an avatar and describing by demographics and psychographics that you're going to be able to find your next client.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that she is this age, she's got this education, she lives in this part of the world is not that helpful.
Yeah.
Truthfully, in finding your next client. It's not. So I am really committed to helping people find their next buyer. So I have a resource. It's an 11-page PDF that will show you 25 ways that are working right now with clients that I have that are getting paid using this tactic. My invitation, just so we're clear, is not that you do 25 things. I want you to decide, how do I want to play?
Yeah.
And I want you to pick one, at most two ways that you say, that's how I want to grow my business because it feels like oxygen to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then become a master of that skill and get the discipline of figuring it out. Inside this PDF, the other thing that you'll find is a description of what a buyer is.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people are trying to convince somebody who's not a buyer to buy their stuff. And if you're in North America, they sort of think they do it the New York way, which is if I just talk louder at you or faster, I'll win the argument. And
Yeah.
it's absurd.
Yeah.
They're not buyers. You have to know what a buyer is. A buyer is a very unique thing, and they're a very small group of the audience. So you're going to get this 11-page PDF, and after you go, I got my lane, I know what to do, I'm going to invite you to come talk to me.
Yeah.
Have a conversation. This is not a sales call, just so we're clear, until you say to me, I'd like you to make me an offer. I'm here to help you figure out what's your one next step to find your next buyer and to help breathe belief into you that says that's a lane you can get behind. And here's some ways to get some quick wins going because I want to see more of you succeed. And you're going to get it as part of this free gift.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Guys, like, there's going to be a link down the bottom. Go and get it. It's going to be amazing because, and it's time to actually simplify what it is you're doing. Because obviously, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it out there. What you're doing isn't working. And that's why you are here as well. So take this opportunity to see what's going on and take that invite to actually speak and go, okay, and have that dialogue and see where there's gaps so you can actually succeed in all that you want to do.
Yeah. Awareness is the first piece of the puzzle.
Mm.
Like it's a good thing to have the light bulb go off. And I hope you've had quite a few go off in our conversation. But if you just write it in your notebook and you do nothing with it, I will tell you, come watch my podcast episode about this. You're going nowhere. I
Yeah.
want you to go somewhere intentionally. So let's start implementing. And truthfully, there's zero judgment about where you are in your business because I have been there. I work with clients who are there now. And
Mm.
more importantly, get your ego off the table because somebody else is waiting to find you.
Oof.
Let's speed that up. Let's speed that up. That's what
Oh,
I'm
I love
offering.
it. I love that. Just to end on that line, just get the ego off the table because somebody's out there waiting for you. Oh, yes. I was like, that is just like, that is a way to end it. I'm like, yes, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Christine. And like, I was like, on that bombshell, on that, I just love it. Thank you so, so, so much for being a part of us and sharing this and giving that wonderful gift as well.
You're welcome.
Whoa, like how many golden nuggets, how many moments, how many write it down as well as they in that conversation. And I'm so excited. I'm so glad Christine could join us. And hopefully you took some notes. And if you haven't already clicked on the link, go and click on the link to get the resource because it is a game changer. It will, honestly, it'll be a game changer in your life. And I love the way that Christine put it. Keep business simple. I love her sign up on her wall. I love that sign. And yeah, I'm going to encourage you. Yeah, keep business simple. If you're trying to find the link, go to the resource section. It has day one, all the speakers, things that they're offering you. So go to the resource section over there and you can get it. But with that said, I'm going to go grab a coffee and I'll see you back on the hour and we will introduce our next speaker.